as a feminist working in the Caribbean for the last decades, seeing MenEngage create this document as a kind of visioning for its steps forward as it situates itself at the intersection of gender justice, climate justice, and economic justice movements, for example. For me, that is not only refreshing, but it is absolutely important because we need that kind of amplification with such clarity out there. And so that's the first key thing, is that we are often bringing these analyses to the fore and having to fight for their legitimacy and having to fight for them simply to be seen as accurate and relevant. And so just having this document that treats these as accepted, understandings that are grounded in decades of conventions and decades of conversations, and is not going back, and trying to retreat on things that have already been agreed upon is very, very necessary. I don't know, David, if you want to jump in. I have lots I can say about the report, but I don't know if you want to say anything.
Thanks, Gabrielle. I mean, broadly, just that I agree, especially for someone who works primarily in relation to militarism, violent extremism, and conflict, it's really refreshing to see this not just retread the conversation about why we should care about masculinities in general and actually get to some of the heart of these real tensions. And I guess in relation to that, one thing that really stood out to me throughout the report, which is really wide stretching, is this tension between trying to resist neoliberalism on one hand and then trying to sort of engage in a defense against this anti-feminist backlash politics that we're seeing all over the world in different forms. And how do we keep that radical edge of trying to engage in real transformative work rather than just a kind of technocratic interventions was, to me, felt really powerful and important.
Like what David and Gabrielle were saying earlier about the fact that this is not about creating a separate movement with all of the political analysis that is evident in the document, but actually about how does this movement join with movements who have a long history. Insofar, I'm not saying that the movement doesn't have a long history, but has a long history in terms of how the political analysis of women's position in society, etc., is linked to all of these systems of oppression. How do we start to break down all of this kind of language and information, this important analysis? How do we break it down to make it much more grounded in the experiences of the constituents that we work with?